with their pay-per-views. That you mentioned Raw, but not this past year in 2020, but WrestleMania was 7 hours long. No one needs to sit and watch a pay-per-view for 7 hours.
It was 6 hours.
It was 7. If you count the pre-show, it was 7.
Okay. I don't count pre-show as an add-on. I really don't. Maybe do you do? How do you count a pre-show as the extra hours as pre-show?
Well, because in the instance I'm referring to, they had 2 matches on the pre-show.
That's just a pre-show, though.
Yeah, but still, I mean, people are going to be in the building watching the show go on, but it's 7 freaking hours. So, okay, let's remove the pre-show. 6 hours is too long for programming. And when your writing staff is not putting out a good product, it's way too long. You're getting burnt out. WrestleMania is at max. I think okay. I get it. People like to do the pre-show because it's like football. But
yeah, it is, honestly.
Right. But either way, I don't think the pay-per-view should be consistently 3 hours. I think 2 hours are good. 2 to 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours, is good for like the regular pay-per-views. But the absolute max at a WrestleMania, a Survivor Series, a Royal Rumble, things like that could be is 4 hours. There's no reason it should be longer than that.
I agree. They did that for a long time. It was a special start time at 7 p.m. and they went until about 11 o'clock. I think that's fair. But yeah, I agree. 6 hours too long. They say, "Oh, we'll do it in 2 nights." That's whatever. But it's still it's a whole show. It's like if we did a retro review on a WrestleMania, I'm going to tell you. We're not going to do it on 6 or 7 hours long. We're going to you can do 4 hours tops, but that's just, you're watching 6 to 7 hours. It's just, there's not much of a reason for it. It's like, it's just too damn long. Just like we got to put all these extra people inside WrestleMania. That's cool. We want to put some celebrities, but you're taking too much time for too many things.
Well, and the thing about it is with those 6 hours, it's the same people always on the shows. It's not like they're building new talents. And even then, and this goes back to the writing in the PG era and whatnot, even then, the pay-per-views don't matter like they used to.
No.
They don't. They don't.
No, they don't.
And I get that they want to put credence into Raw and SmackDown. They want big things to happen on Raw and SmackDown so they can sell it to Fox and NBC. But the whole reason that you keep a wrestling fan and the whole reason that a wrestling fan watches a pay-per-view is there's supposed to be something really, really big that happens during it. The quality in the product has to be increased. Raws have to be good, SmackDowns have to be good, but the WrestleManias have to be even better. The WrestleManias, the Royal Rumbles, the Survivor Series, any other pay-per-view. The only one I give them a pass on is Fastlane, because I don't think Fastlane should be a pay-per-view in the first place. It should be a house show. But
that's fine with that. It shouldn't even be. They're having 2 pay-per-views before WrestleMania. I don't like that. I just don't see the point in having. I don't know. It's too damn close, and it's just I personally don't like it. A lot of our listeners, you might like the 2 pay-per-views. Fastlane. It's just obviously it's just a setup for WrestleMania, but it is like, what more can you really do? Just do WrestleMania. That's it. Fastlane, if you want to put it in there, fine. Put it as sometime in the summertime. But I agree with you, like a house show. Hell, they already do Starrcade a house show for whatever reason that is.
Well, and then because you mentioned the 2 pay-per-views. I'm okay with Elimination Chamber being there. I wish it had a different name.
That's fine. I mean. Don't have 2 pay-per-views. You can have 1 before WrestleMania. They've had that deal for forever. I'm just saying that you have 2 pay-per-views. Fastlane, that's not going to be, it's whatever. But you don't need 2 pay-per-views. So they had that Saudi Arabia show. I mean, I personal feelings aside, that show was really the setup for the last year. Last year they had the whole that tournament which had Undertaker return. I mean, that's cool, but that was just set up. So I mean, I just didn't see why you should go to over there for WrestleMania, but
it's just they made it to where pay-per-views are inconsequential, and that's a big problem.
Oh,
you mentioned the Saudi Arabia shows. The Saudi Arabia shows are definitely inconsequential, and honestly, I don't think they should do them. But you and I talked about that previously.
Yeah.
The only thing I would be kind of excited about, and I don't see this happening because I don't see WWE making this kind of a change, is um, if they're able to build a story that makes whoever Edge goes after matter more at Elimination Chamber. If they're able to make and tell that story, good on them. They made the pay-per-view very interesting. I do like the idea. At the time of recording this, Raw went off the air a few hours ago. I do like the idea that they ran a gauntlet. They're doing something that's supposed to garner a little bit more interest.
Yeah.
But the writing needs to get better. The storyline, everything. The best story that they got going mainly right now is Alexa Bliss, Fiend, and Randy Orton on Raw. And if I miss one, I'm sorry. And the other one is the whole Roman Reigns story going on SmackDown. They should have better stories down the card. I can't remember the last time Dolph Ziggler mattered.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's tag team champion. It's still, I'm not really invested in that. I'm somewhat still invested into the Charlotte and Ric Flair thing. I know you're not, but I'm not overly invested, but I'm still there. I'm still thinking, okay, let's see where this leads to. I was invested. I mean, I know me and you have different tastes, but I was invested in the Seth Rollins in the Mysterio family feud, and now is not really going on, obviously. Drew McIntyre, it's there's nothing going on with him. I mean, as far as storyline, I know that whole Sheamus thing going on. That's there. I'd rather see Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre than Drew McIntyre versus Edge, honestly. I don't see any story with Edge and Drew McIntyre. They're like I said, the creative's got to. I don't see creative changing until something changes within creative.
Yep, and that needs to happen. That absolutely needs to happen.
Because it's one thing or maybe one or two things per show is not going to get you through the entire 3 hours, and as well as 2 hours of SmackDown. I think there's things about SmackDown that are even better, honestly.
There's a lot of things about SmackDown that are better. There's things about NXT that are better. WWE puts out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours of TV on actual cable broadcasts between USA and Fox. Those are the Raw, the SmackDown, the NXT. But then you have to factor NXT UK, which I believe is an hour, 205, which is an hour. I think they still do Superstars on the network. That's an hour. They put out so much TV product. Yes, you're going to have things that falter, but man, the quality has to be better. They can be better than this.
Last time I watched NXT was 2 weeks ago, and I remember talking to the phone about this. It's I'm sorry, NXT that it's a hit or miss with me. I mean, I respect that they do things differently, and I wish they would get more shown on pay-per-views. Maybe have some matches on Raw and SmackDown, but they're not. You call them, not you personally, but people call them. That company calls them. They're no longer necessarily a development brand. I mean, people get sent to NXT, but you don't have to do it anymore. They're not just that development system anymore. They're an actual third brand. They're no longer just, we'll send them back down to PC Center, or they call it now. But it's not development anymore. It's their own brand. They're on a major network now, making better money, than bigger stage. You're not really, that's the development system. You're not that anymore. That's the PC. Do they call PC anymore, right?
No, it's called something Wrestling Center.
I was going to call it PC, so that makes it a lot easier for myself. But
I think it's called the Capital Wrestling Center.
On time, I guess the Capital Wrestling Center, but you also don't have the PC as like just a training facility.
No, I think they literally changed the name of it to Capital Wrestling Center.
Well, I'm gonna still call it PC. That sounds a lot better. It sounds better name anyways right now. But
I thought you don't like being PC.
What?
No.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said I thought you don't like being PC.
I don't like being PC. No, I don't. Whatever.
Okay, so I was partially wrong. The whole center is still called the Performance Center. the area that they have the ring for like training for in front of crowds is called the Capitol Wrestling Center.
Okay. So we're 50-50. But anyways, if you're going to send them down, send them to PC. You don't send them down to NXT. That's your third brand, and the third brand needs to be shown more. Period. Ending. And I think Edge versus Finn Balor would be a good match at WrestleMania. Build a storyline on that. That's just. But anyways,
if they do, Finn Balor should be the Demon.
Fine too. But I should not put Drew versus Edge. Oh my God, no! I will not. I'm not invested in that whatsoever.
It's gonna happen.
Better not. I mean, what's the storyline gonna be?
My opinion, Edge is gonna be desperate. I think the storyline there is Edge is gonna be desperate to beat Drew McIntyre, and he's gonna cheat to win.
Okay, I can understand if you're gonna do a heel turn at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, I think he's gonna be a heel,
and that's fine. But I'm just the initial match does not have me invested right now. I don't see where you look at desperation, and that's fine. But it's just like on paper, even just not on paper, just what I've been saying. I just don't see. I mean, we'll see how it turns about. I'm interested. I am interested. I'm just not right. I'm just not invested in just seeing Edge versus Drew McIntyre for the title. There's just nothing there for me. So, creative team, get your ass together.
They definitely need to. They need to be able to make it make it a situation where that they have a bunch of people that are always there. I mean, the pandemic, this is on the creative side. The pandemic definitely played out the problem with WWE only relying on a few stars. They didn't have the depth chart needed to be able to maintain and keep storylines going. Right. And they had no stars. They didn't have a situation where they could rely on somebody else to draw attention. It was just, the pandemic, amongst other things, highlighted a lot of faults with WWE. And creative definitely absolutely needs to get everything back together.
Absolutely. If you have a problem with losing one, maybe two people, that's a problem right there in its own self. I mean, that's been going on for a while. Did the same thing many years ago as well. When you rely on a couple people, it makes a problem. So, going back to the original with the Undertaker, he had his way. He said what he said, and he felt what he had to say, and I agree to some ways, to an extent, as far as the product goes. I said I understand everything we just talked about, and I agree. There's a business behind it, and there's a business aspect behind it. It's a hard change, especially when you're from the old school. So I just hope that they can beef some things up inside the product.
Mm-hmm. And they
creatively, and just kind of make it more appealing, obviously. But that's all I can say.
Yep. But again, guys, the fans, whatnot, I get it. I get the frustration with the PG era, but the problems with the PG era are not the rating. The problems with the PG era is WWE's lack of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
PG era needed to happen both for business and the overall longevity on the product itself. If focus on what the actual content of the problem is. It's not lack of stars. It's not a lack of hardness. I use that as quotation marks because it's a soft comment. It's just lack of the people getting quality to work with to create fascinating storylines to get you interested. It's not on the performer. It's not on the rating. It's on the creativity itself. With that all said, that's going to be it for us. Unless you had anything else you wanted to add.
No, we're good.
Cool. You can find us on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at WrestlingSCool. Go ahead and take over for the rest.
For Instagram, it's at Wrestling Still Cool. Facebook is Wrestling Still Cool. TikTok is at Wrestling Still Cool 90. and get us on email at